Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. Happy Friday to you guys. January 28th, 2011. We finished up a great week in the trade room. Let's see how we did today. What's the most important thing that happened today, guys? Now, we had our biggest day of the year today. I was going to talk about it later on in the video, but I really couldn't wait to share with you guys. Had the biggest day of the year today, over 380 ticks in this market this morning. We probably could have kept making more money too, but we had to finish up our day in the live trade room this morning. So great day in the room. We finished up a huge week with our biggest day of the year. Not my biggest day of my career. That was last November. I think last November, middle of the week, middle of the month, last November, we had the biggest day of our career. This is pretty close though. Now today we had gold rollover. Right now, how do we know when gold rolls over? Go to the blog. On the blog, type in gold rollover, and there's a video on the blog that talks all about when the gold futures rolls forward. Now, gold rolls over every other month, and we saw the volume move from the 211 to the 411 contract, and that's what led to us rolling forward on gold today. So if you're still trading the 211 contract, make sure you guys roll forward before Monday. We rolled over on gold this morning, though. Now, we saw the dollar in a wedge, right? Now, again, a lot of this stuff, guys, was in the morning prep this morning. So most of this will be kind of a repeat right now. If you're with us this morning at 7:45, the morning prep, very important because we talked about this stuff and prepared for the day ahead. Like I always say, the morning prep, right, doing your homework the morning of or the night before, right, doing your homework is very important because it puts us in a position where we can feel confident taking trades later on in the morning. So our morning prep this morning, we found we had a narrow wedge on the dollar. Now, that gave us some initial concerns, right? But remember, we were also expecting 8:30 news. So when I'm looking at my chart this morning, 7:30, 7:45, I'm looking at the dollar. The dollar is a narrow wedge. But I'm also understanding that at 8:30, we're probably going to see some news that will break it out of that wedge. So we had some initial concerns at 7:30, 7:45 about that dollar wedge. We obviously, though, knew to wait for 8:30 to see if it was really going to be a problem. Now, the dollar did stay in that wedge all day. It came back to the highs. We'll talk more about that in a moment. 8:30 news came out. 8:30 news was flat. We had pretty much within expectations, GDP and employment costs. So 8:30 news came out flat. The market, I think, pretty much already had that priced in. We took 3-4 trades before 9:30, made about 100 ticks of profit, and then at 9:30, it was just off the races. Price is running. Dollar starts rising. Gold starts rising, crude starts rising, and the euro falls off the highs. So we took a couple trades from 8:30 till 9:30. Again, the news at 8:30 didn't really move the markets very much. It pretty much moved the markets to the highs. We sold the highs on gold, right? We bought the lows on crude. So the news at 8:30, it moved the markets, but it definitely wasn't that big lightning, right? That lightning rod we were expecting for. All right, so 8:30 news comes out. We make 100 ticks. Right, sell the highs on gold, buy the pullback on crude, and then at 9:30, all of a sudden we get all kinds of global concerns about the riots in Egypt this morning. Right, we have, of course, the GDP number comes out flat, and now we've got at 9:30, guys, we've got people dumping the euro. Right, we talked about it short off the euro highs. All right, we had a lot of members this morning trading the euro this morning, so we went over that in the morning prep. We talked about on the euro how we're going to sell those highs in the euro, but we didn't sell the lows. If you test the lows, we're going to sell a retracement. Remember that this morning in the room, guys? Lots of people making money in the euro this morning. But what happened was dollar rises, gold rises, crude rises. How does that happen, right? How do we get all three of those? Isn't there supposed to be a negative correlation? Aren't we supposed to see the dollar rising, then see the crude fall, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to work? Well, that's how it's supposed to work. But remember, guys, sometimes this correlation will break down. Low volume, right? Low volume is one specific time when the dollar correlation will break down. But there's another one, and we talked about that earlier this week. What was the second reason why that correlation may break down? If people are taking their money out of currencies, say, the euro, right? Let's say you were concerned that the economic climate with the euro currency, we'll say we're concerned about that. So you take your money out of the euro, where are you going to put it, right? The dollar, right? Buy some U.S. stocks, U.S. equities, right? Or most people will put it in gold. Okay, so this is why you have the dollar and the gold rising. All right, pretty interesting, right? So this is when you have the dollar and the gold, right? And the crude also rising. So what's happening is you've got fears, right? Some sort of fear of the economy, some sort of fear out there In this case, it's based in Europe, right? We had some riots this morning in Egypt this morning. And so they're talking about bailouts this morning. They're talking about bringing the military in, right, to stop these riots. And so people now, we assume, are concerned about the health of the euro because of the riots. Therefore, they're trying to find shelter from the storm. They put it in gold. They put it in the dollar, right? So basically now, we've got euro dropping, gold, crude, dollar all rising, and we know it's because of outside influences.